before the pitcher is shattered at the spring, you use a pitcher to get water. That's gonna, a drought's coming. The water source is gonna be cut off. Before the pitcher is shattered at the spring and the wheel broken at the well. Yeah, all water is gonna be shut down too. And the dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to Yahweh who gave it. Once again, people are gonna be put to death. Come on. Do you have something?
Yeah. Okay. This is Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 14. It says, "They have healed also the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace." Everything that we're saying right now is a prophecy of destruction. Okay? Everything that we're saying right now is a prophecy that really most people that may hear this video, most people that listen to the Hebrew Israelites and have something to say about it, most of you are going to die. That's a straight up fact. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it except tell you the truth of the fact that there is no peace. It says, were they ashamed when they had committed abomination? Yeah, you got to think about it. These people deserve this destruction because were you really ashamed when you were out here in America having a good time, living it up, doing what you wanted to do? No. Were these women ashamed when they were acting like harlots out on the streets of Babylon the Great? No, absolutely not. Were these men out here ashamed when they were committing adultery against another man's wife? No, they weren't ashamed of that. As a matter of fact, in America, the culture here is that you actually brag about that. You boast about that. Okay? Scriptures say folly is set in great dignity. So when you're going off and you're doing sin in America and really in any Western country, okay, you're going to actually be elevated, okay, in status. You're going to be able to make money. You're going to be able to be recognized and loved and adored by people. Okay, so you weren't ashamed when you were committing abomination. It says, were they ashamed when they had committed abomination? Nay, they were not at all ashamed, neither could they blush. Therefore, they shall fall among them that fall. Yeah, Jake out here mingling with the heathen, doing what Esau wants to do, and what Esau wants him to do. You're going to fall with Esau. You want to do what Esau wants to do? Okay, you want to act like an Edomite? You're going to die like an Edomite. In other words, it says, neither could they blush. Therefore, they shall fall among them that fall. At the time that I visit them, they shall be cast down, saith the Lord. Okay, so when the Lord visits this place, when the Lord visits, he comes with a lot of destruction. Okay, read all the examples about when the Lord visited the planet Earth with judgment. Okay, especially upon you Israelites. Did not the Lord send an angel when David went off and counted Israel? Did not the Lord send a death angel to kill many Israelites? He did. Okay? Okay, when the Lord visits, like you think about the Exodus, when the Lord visited Pharaoh, did he not kill all the firstborn of Egypt? Okay, including their cattle? Okay, these are the type of examples of things that are going to be happening in America, but these people don't believe in the Lord. They don't believe in the scriptures. Why? Because they go to church and the pastor's talking about peace, peace. Okay? And he's destroying the minds of the people, which really we only care about Jake. Jake's mind is destroyed. As a matter of fact, let me get that in the 4th chapter. This is Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 22. For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children, which goes into very, very stupid. Okay, you're very stupid if you don't know the judgments of the Lord. You don't understand what's about to come to this place. Okay? It says, for my people is foolish, they have not known me, they are sottish children, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. Okay, so not having the knowledge of righteousness, which means they don't think about the law, statutes, and commandments, they don't think about the sacrifice of Yahweh, they don't feel bad, they don't want to repent, they don't care about the fact that we're telling them that the Lord is coming to destroy this place and all that do wickedness. They don't care about that. Why? Because they're feeling good. They're feeling great. You know? They want to smoke that weed. You know? They want to commit that adultery. You know? They want to do all the things. They want to steal. They want to rob. They want to kill. They want to do all the things that make the flesh feel good. Forgetting that there's a payment that you that must be paid. Okay, there's a debt that is owed when you commit those acts. Okay? Let's continue here. Let me hit Jeremiah 50th chapter. Okay, because we just read Isaiah the 24th chapter. Jeremiah the 50th chapter goes into basically the same prophecy. Okay? Jeremiah 50, verse 1. The word that the Lord spake against Babylon, which in the 24th chapter of Isaiah they called it the city of confusion, and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations, and publish and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. We set up a standard right here. We're not concealing the fact of who we're talking to and what we're saying. Okay? Say, Babylon is taken. Bel is confounded, and Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. Very soon, there's going to be events taking place that these Christians are going to have no answer for. The idol of JC, Jesus Christ, who they like to call Jesus Christ, that's going to be confounded. Okay? And they're going to turn and they're going to look at their pastors and have a lot of questions for the things that they've been teaching them. Okay? It says, her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate. There's that desolation again. And none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. And the Lord saying in the 24th chapter of Isaiah, he's going to scatter all the inhabitants abroad. He's going to scatter everybody. Okay, that land, that army from the north is going to be Russia. Okay, and eventually it's going to turn into the allies of this place. NATO and the EU, all going to turn against America. Okay? In those days, and in that time, saith the Lord, Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, and it says, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping, they shall go and seek the Lord Yahweh their power. They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come, let us join ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. So that's what me and Ak are doing right now, Judah and Israel. Okay? Right now, we're trying to seek the Lord. All right? You got brothers all over the United States that are out right now as we speak today that are teaching and seeking the Lord right now and teaching the people exactly what's about to happen. All right? It's only the remnant of the nation of Israel that's going to come seeking the Lord in the proper way. Okay? Let me jump back to the book of Isaiah, chapter 10. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 6. I will send him against the hypocritical nation and against the people of my wrath. I will give him a charge to take the spoil, to take the prey, to tread them down like the mire of the streets. Howbeit, he meaneth not so, neither doeth his heart think so, but it is in the heart to destroy and cut off nations, not a few. So everybody's about to get this work from the Lord. Okay, he's going to cut off nations, not a few. That was going into the Assyrian Empire at the time. Okay, at the time of the Assyrian Empire, you had them going around. Really, I think it was Ramshakeh. Who was that general that was going around when that came from Hezekiah, and he was bragging about
Shalmaneser?
Yeah, Shalmaneser. That's his name. Shalmaneser came and he was bragging about how all the guys of the other nations were not able. I started mine over. We already got 50 minutes in. Yeah, I had to start mine over. Shalmaneser came and was bragging to Hezekiah about how all the gods of the other nations were not able to save those nations from the might of the Assyrian Empire. So he cut off a lot of nations, not a few. Okay? But in this time, there's going to be a whole lot more nations cut off. Okay? There are going to be a whole lot more nations cut off in this World War III. You're going to have Western nations fight against Eastern nations. Eastern nations fight against Western nations. That's Matthew 24. Let me get that. Okay? Let's get Matthew 24. Matthew 24, start at verse 6. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, But the end is not yet. See, it's not over yet. Just because there's wars going on, it's not over yet. There's still more prophecy to be fulfilled. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Famine, what do you say? Famine, pestilence, and earthquakes. You go into books like the first chapter of Zechariah, okay, the horsemen. You go into Revelation, the horsemen of the apocalypse, okay. Those horsemen represents the powers that Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, sends when he wants to bring down a nation, okay. In the book of Daniel, the Lord said that he brings kingdoms down and he rises other kingdoms up. Well, how does he do that? He uses the horsemen. He brings catastrophe on the nation. He brings pestilence on the nation, warfare on the nation. These are all the horsemen that the Lord says, all right, I want the Assyrians to go down. Let's send those horsemen. All right, they're going to knock them down and they're going to set up the Babylonians. All right, it's time for the Babylonians to go down. I'm going to send those horsemen, okay? They're going to knock them down and they're going to set up the Medes and Persians. Time for them to go down, time for the Greeks, so on and so forth, all the way to today. And now he's saying, I'm going to knock America down. I'm going to knock these Edomites down out of power, and I'm going to set up the nation of Israel. Okay? Let's go to the book of Daniel. Daniel's chapter 2. This is towards the bottom. Daniel's chapter 2. Start at verse 42. It says, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, going into this mixed unity that you have between these Edomite nations, they're not agreed together. However, they are bound enough to have made themselves the universal power on the planet Earth. Okay? It says, as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong, going into their military coalitions, their military might, basically representing NATO, okay? And it says, and partly broken. Yeah, they don't agree on policy. They don't agree on leadership. They don't agree on so many things. You know, all these nations looking at America, getting them into different wars with countries like Iran, okay? Probably going to get them into a war with China when China tries to take Taiwan, okay? And Russia, with Russia and Ukraine going on. All those European nations, they don't agree with that. They don't agree with the stabilization that the United States has caused by dropping bombs on all these Middle Eastern third world countries, therefore causing a refugee crisis, that all these refugees are now going to places like Scotland, going to places like Ireland, going to places like England, going to places like Poland and Germany. And now you have an overrun population of immigrants coming into Europe, okay, where these Edomites live, and now you're having trouble like you're having in Northern Ireland right now. Riots all over the place, okay? Race riots in England, you know, in Belfast, okay? That's the things, these countries are going to blame the United States for this, okay? It says, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Verse 44. And in the days of these kings, the kings of Germany, the kings of Poland, the kings of England, the king of Ireland, the king of Canada, the king of the United States, you Western nations, in these days, what's going to happen? In the days of these kings shall the God of heaven, which is Yahweh, okay, the God of heaven set up a kingdom. That's the kingdom of heaven. That's the kingdom of heaven. Daniel 2:44 is the gospel, okay? Which shall never be destroyed. All other empires, all other superpowers of the planet Earth, no matter what era, no matter what time period you're in, they were all destroyed, okay? But this one will not be. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people. It's only for the Israelites. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms and shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone, which is the stone up a few verses, okay, which represents Yahushua coming back to destroy this place. It says, where as much as thou sawest the stone, I lost my spot. As much as thou sawest the stone that was cut out of mountain with no hands, and that it break in pieces the iron and brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, hath made, known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain. The dream is certain. So how is it you can come against us and say that America's not going down? We sound crazy when we say that. But Daniel said that the dream is certain. This place is going to be destroyed. So we have 100% confidence the United States is going to be destroyed. All right? Ain't going to be no memorial to Gerald R. Ford in the kingdom of heaven, man. All right? You got something?
Yeah. I got this. This article from the Digital Real Estate Cousins. They said this. This is what a normal day looks like in 2036. Digital ID, programmable money, CO2 budget. It's all in black and white in their documents. Yeah, Lord willing, we're not here. Yeah, so they plan that. They believe Esau's planning to have everybody shipped by 2036. But guess what, man? We ain't gonna be here that long. I don't believe we were gonna be here that long. I'll be surprised if we're here that long. I'll be surprised if we make it to 2030, man. Ultimately, this thing is gonna happen. Ultimately, we're gonna be delivered before 2031 or something like that. And then this other article says, new data shows that the salary needed to afford rent across America and over half the country is one missed paycheck away from moving back in with their mama. This is from Roadstar. That was from Roadstar. It says a new affordability report shows the average American now needs nearly $70,000 a year to comfortably afford a modest two-bedroom rental, while spending no more than 30% of their income on housing. In states like California and Hawaii, renters need more than $100,000 annually just to hit that affordability benchmark. That's great. Meanwhile, more than half of renter households across America are reportedly spending over 30% of their income on housing costs. And also this, it says the math checks out. This article says a 100K salary today is exactly what a 50K was in 2000. And yeah, here was that article that I saw. It says nothing says dying civilization like gladiatorial fights at the Capitol for the Emperor's Trump's amusement.